What is up, YouTube? Millennial Waterfowl back at you guys with yet another video. I'm noticing a lot of my reviews on stuff. Like I've only have two reviews on some products, maybe three. Have gotten most of my views so far. I'm still really small, but I'm gonna keep pushing and we'll see where it goes. I mean, I have no plans to stop, and as long as someone learns from it, what the heck. So today we're gonna be talking about Public Land Tips 101. And I know we've kind of maybe talked about some of that in some other videos, but I wanted to isolate a few things on this evening and talk to you guys about some few things. So, still got the old Mr. Buddy heater, tried and true, running on the same propane tank. I've had it going for about a week straight. Come out here for 20-30 minutes and have a chit chat with you guys. Excuse me. Anyway, so today, this evening, however you want to depict it, we're going to be talking about, like I said, some few things about basic hunting tips. And if you're brand new to hunting, especially if you're brand new to hunting, if you're brand new to the channel, I'm always here for questions. If you have personal questions and you don't want to get trolled on YouTube, shoot me a private message. I've got a Facebook page. Go ahead and ask me whatever you guys want to ask, and I'll give you a tried and true answer. I'm not here to make fun of anybody. I'm not here to give anybody any grief. I just want to see it grow, just like everybody else. I'm past the part of, well, I wouldn't say past. I'm in a different category, I would say, as far as hunting in the aspect of greed. I think that's the best and worst thing about it is, my drive to kill, and shoot and harvest and all this good stuff is there and everything, but it's not like it was 3 or 4 years ago where that was the only goal. Where now, I get just as much enjoyment out of just calling for a friend and watching them do it, and them passing it down and showing them everything I know, and that the teaching part of everything is becoming more great to me. And I have a lot to learn. I've only been duck hunting for 10 years, deer hunting for 7, and turkey hunting for 5. So, I mean, the more I watch a lot of your guys' videos, if you guys make them, the more I learn. I soak up every bit of what you guys tell me, and I try to apply that myself in the average Joe life. So, without more rambling, because, we can get all over the place, the first thing I want to talk about is finding yourself a good place to go. And usually the problem with finding a good place to go is people. You're not necessarily going to run into problems if it's public and you're hunting public land, whether it's a cornfield, whether it's a marsh, whether it's a pond, a lake. You're always going to have that factor of the next guy, the other group, the people. And that's what may deter some of us new guys that are just learning how to hunt new areas and stuff. And I try to go to at least 1 or 2 new places a year just to have it in the back of my head to say, hey, well, if this isn't, working out, maybe I can go over here. And that is probably the biggest tip I can give anybody is the more resources you have in your pocket to play with, the better off you're going to be as a hunter. And I don't care what anybody says, that's just proof. If you know a pond you can hunt that's public, and a cornfield you can get access to, or if you don't want to over waterfowl hunt the same place too much. You're going to push your birds out, and it's just going to get really pressured, and it's going to be hard to get birds to work. And when I mean work, I mean decoy in to your spread to shoot. So taking the time to sit down, get your map out from your local Walmart, your local sporting goods store, whatever state you live in. There's going to be a list. There's going to be numbers or however the map does, and it's going to tell you all the places that are public access. And they're going to have rules with each individual public place that you can hunt. Some are different than others. So again, read your rule book. But once you have 3 or 4 places, go check them out during the day. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, noon, whenever you can. Go look at these places, and I'm not saying go scout necessarily because that's different. But get familiar with the area. Get familiar with how far you have to get there, the walking distance, all that stuff, the travel and everything, and do it at a time when it's not stressful in the middle of the night. I've gone to 2 or 3 different spots in the middle of the night, never been there before, and I've gotten lucky a couple times, but more than likely I wasn't in the spot that they were coming to, and you know, I got the tail end of birds, or I got leftover shots, and that sucked. Excuse me. So what I've tried to do is go to places and figure out, okay, this looks good, this looks good, okay, I don't want to be over here. What's the water depth? What's safe? Once you establish, you know, one spot, then find another, so on and so forth. So that's like my biggest tip for public land hunting is find as much as you can. And once you've found that, then you can start working your places and working the aspect of where you're hunting and what times you're hunting, what places are good for what wind, or what side of the lake or the bank or the creek or wherever is good. Make sure it's safe. Make sure you know where you're going. That's the biggest thing for us, for you guys that are really, really new to hunting, is maybe you don't have a friend and you're just getting into it yourself, and you bought yourself a gun, or you inherited a gun and you want to get a license and some decoys, and you just want to go out and have a good time and try it. There's a lot to it if you're a brand new hunter. There's so much. Finding someone that really knows. There's so many different pages and groups on Facebook that someone will take you out, or someone will guide you and give you some tips, that you don't have to go out and spend a bunch of money to be successful. You got to buy a bunch of stuff, which is expensive in the long run, but it comes with time. You know, you're not going to necessarily need to spend a fortune, but you know, having good warm clothes, having a good reliable firearm or a good reliable bow, or spending the time to make sure you know what everything does, that's huge in the aspect of, you know, preparing yourself for all this. So the second part that I really wanted to talk about is making sure that you, what's the word I'm looking for? You have the right expectations when you go out to these places. If you hype yourself up for everything and you get super, super excited that you're there and, oh man, we're going to shoot, we're going to have a great time, blah, 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 blah. You know, I found that the more optimistic you are about things and not to give up when you're hunting, the more successful you are. I can't tell you how many times I've hunted with people, and after the first 45 minutes, it was just like they're a completely different person. They're over it. They're ready to go. They want to pack stuff up. They could care less. It sucks. Blah, 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 blah. They're done. And perseverance in hunting will get you to every bit of satisfaction you can ever imagine. You can go out and you can shoot ducks at 10 o'clock in the afternoon or in the morning to 1 o'clock. These times that everybody say is the slow time or the lull time is not necessarily true. Okay? That's just when everything is getting up and moving around and getting ready. Weather conditions aside, because that always plays a factor in everything during the day, but you have to understand that if you put the time in, and it involves a lot of patience, you're going to have success. Because pulling the trigger only takes a second, and setting everything else up and being out there is 99% of everything else. Ask any person that deer hunts, ask any person that bow hunts, it only takes 1 second or 3 or 4 seconds of oh my god for all the rest of the painstaking waiting. And that's the most important part, is 3 or 4 seconds can change everything. Because in 3 seconds, everything could come together. 2 or 3 minutes, everything could be right there. So be optimistic when you go out, and you know, check your weather. Your weather is very important. What the way is the wind blowing? All these little teeny tiny things that I'm explaining to you took years for me to understand and apply to how I hunt. I can't just say, well, I'm going here because, you know, I'm going here. And there's no rhyme or reason as to how I'm educationally making a basis that I know I'm going to be successful. You know, just because I've shot birds in the past there doesn't mean that you're going to shoot birds there tomorrow or the next day. You've kind of got to do a little bit more digging than that. But if you have killed birds in the past there, that's always a good, you know, confidence booster. But I mean, teal season where I hunted this year and went out and videoed was horrible. I think I saw a total of like 50 birds in the 3 times I went out and filmed. Again, no footage. I didn't really get enough footage to even put out to you guys because I was just filming and we didn't even shoot. Like, I wasn't shooting, but nobody shot who the guys that I were with. Like, nobody killed anything. And that's not to say that other people didn't shoot teal this early season. I know people, Freelance up in Kansas, they hammered them. Some guys up in Wisconsin I'm buddies with, they smoked some. They got some geese too. But where I was and the access I had stuff to, the birds just weren't really there. And, you think, oh, well, that just sucks. But I've had years in the past where I was limited out in 12 minutes. Within 15 minutes of you're legally allowed to shoot till my last decoy was picked up and I was walking back to my truck, I had my limit of 6 ducks. My teal were done. I was good. So you have to remember that it's hunting, not just shooting, not just harvesting, not just killing. However you want to depict it. There's so many days that you're going to go out there and you're not going to kill anything. And you're not going to see anything, or everything's going to be way too high, or the wind's just not in your favor, and walking around the other side of the lake's too far, or the pond gets too deep over there, or whatever the factor is. You're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, but it's worth it to me, and I think it'll be worth it for you if that's what you're passionate about. It's all about how you look at things in perception. If you have good perception and good morals with everything, you're going to kill birds. You're going to be successful, and you just got to persevere with it. Don't worry about money. Don't worry about what kind of decoys you have. Get out there and give it a shot, guys, because that's all it takes is, that one time where, 4 people, I will never forget the first ducks that those 4 people shot. My buddy D, he shot a Susie hen mallard. He shot his first goose that day too. I'll never forget the day, what it looked like, how they came in. Like, it kind of imprints on you, like, the success of others when you know that they're establishing it with you. So to me, that's more of my aspect and goal is, be friendly to every other hunter and pass it on, because I can't tell you how many guys I've ran into that their nose was in the clouds for no reason, just common sense, like, hey, I'm here, you need to move over there. And people just get upset. So don't try to fight the war on public land. But those are some 2 really good tips that I have for you guys for getting started and getting into the very, very tip of hunting is watch these videos with these guys that go out and how they play the wind, how they play the weather, how they play, conditions of the areas they can hunt and what they're doing, because there's so many little details in there that are left out that you don't know what's going on, and you'll be really successful to know those things and to why they're doing those things. When's the time to run a jerk rig, and when's the time to, how do I set my mojo up, or where do I put my decoys? We could talk for literally hours, and I could probably bore you to death on how to begin to set up and to start everything. But those will be in later videos. I'll talk about my spread setups. I'll talk about why I use the decoys I use. I'll talk about how wind plays a factor and everything. And there's other hunters out there that are doing this for you guys. I'm not the only one that has thought about, man, how could I help someone new get into this, figure everything out, and never do it a day in their life and go out and be successful. There's so many different things that can surround you and eclipse you with new and improved ideas. The technology in waterfowl hunting in the last 10 years has been like going from a flip phone to an iPhone 10. It's just the guns are more reliable, the ammunition is more consistent, the decoys look so much more realistic. Everything has just changed. So along with time, we have to adapt, and that's going to come with opinion, and that's going to come with time. So stick with me. I'm not going to be as boring as I am forever here on this porch. And I'll get out there and I'll show you guys how it's done and what I do, and hopefully you'll enjoy everything I'm putting out for you guys. And if you're brand new, like I said, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and I hope you learned something from me. And if you didn't, feel free to ask me a question. I'm trying. Once again, folks, Millennial Waterfowl, I'm Jake. I'll see you guys in the next video.